And like Ray said, I'm Keyna Cory. I'm the Executive Director for the Florida Recycling Partnership. Now, the partnership is a coalition of top Florida businesses and associations, and their whole mission is to educate policymakers and the general public on the benefits of recycling. I loved it. It seemed like every single slide that we saw today had something about education. That'd be us. And we've got a lot of different things that we're doing. We reactivated this organization in 2013, and one of our first events was with DEP. And at that time, it was Herschel Vineyard, who was our Secretary of the Department of Environmental Protection. And we got together with him and we did our first Florida Recycle Day at the Capitol. And he gave FSU an award for their recycling efforts, one of the recycling recognition awards that Henry talked about earlier. We've continued that. We've now had our 3 of them in a row, and we're scheduling one for November of this year. But other types of educational programs that we do are summits. We do like little mini summits that are designed for 35, no more than 50 people. We've done them in Tampa. We did one at Marlins Park. Marlins are one of our members. We did it at Port Everglades. The Florida Ports Council is one of our members. And last week, gee, this one was really rough to do, but we had to do Florida Recycling Summit at Anheuser-Busch Brewery. Now, that one we had to rechange our format a little bit. Instead of having a midday type of thing, we moved that to an afternoon, and then had to, after we did our tour and everything, had to sample a few of their products. So, like I said, it was a rough time, but we had a lot of fun doing it. But I have a small but great group of members, and several of them are here today. We had SWIX is one of ours. Gene Jones and SWIX is. We have Publix. Kim Brunson, matter of fact, I know Brittany is here pinch hitting for Kim today, but Kim is actually our chair. Waste Management, John McCormick is actually our secretary treasurer. We have John Zapata with Rooms to Go. I've told more Rooms to Go stories than I've ever could imagine, and he's got great ones to tell. And so that, and Marpian, I heard that somebody from Marpian's here, and Kim Williams is a great member of ours too, so thank you very, very much. Some of the things that we're doing as far as different educational programs this year is we do panels. We put together panels for different types of organizations. For example, Florida Chamber of Commerce does their environmental permitting summer school. I don't know if any of you get to go to that. It's a really great event. There's about 800 people that attend that. We put together panels that talk about recycling. We're going to be doing one for the Southeast Building Association, the Southeast Builders Conference, so it's all southeastern part. We're also doing one for the Retail Federation, and there's Sunshine Expo. So there's a lot of fun things that we do. We try to make it so that we're telling other businesses, look at these great businesses and organizations, all their wonderful recycling programs. Don't you want to come join us? And it's worked out great. It's a great way for us to do it. Now, when Ray asked, and Gene asked me to do this today, I says, I love this because now we're going to get some feedback from you. What kind of questions do you have for all these great speakers? But I know some of you are a little shy. So we're going to put an incentive for you. Dawn has got a little jar. I stole the jar from over there. I'll put it back, I swear. I cleaned it out, put it over there. So if you ask a question, starting now, it doesn't count for the previous ones that you had. If you ask a question, you get to put your business card in that bowl. If you don't have a business card or you've run out because you've done some great networking today, we've got some extra little cards for you to just put your name on. And at the end of it, before we turn it over to Karen, we're going to give out this beautiful little basket, recycling bin, full of all kinds of goodies, like a backpack from PepsiCo. We've got a hat from PepsiCo. We've got a Wawa lunchbox. We've got Office Depot Jervis tumbler. We've got some wonderful little things from Waste Management. You know how you should get stressed and you just go like, oh, if I could only get this done today. If I had a few more hours. Or if you've got kids, they love those. What else do we have? We got all kinds of things in here. Light bulbs from Publix, and that's for those who have great ideas, those bright ideas. Get it, get it? Okay. So, that's it. Now, let's start with some questions. All right.
I had a question about there's some slides on the reduced carbon footprint and the lower energy cost with recycling. Did that include, was that just for the manufacturing process, or did that include the whole cycle of the collection and all the other energy uses that went into?
Who had our greenhouse gas slide? Here, let me do this.
Okay, repeat the question.
The question was about the reduction in greenhouse gas impacts of recycling. So that's a full, the full life cycle analysis from the point of recycling to the new product. that's always one of the questions on the life cycle is how much of the original burden do you include in the recycling? You know, the burden of the original manufacturer, but I believe commonly what they do is say that goes with all of the virgin, and then the secondary is just the collection, reclamation, and remanufacturing, and so it included the whole thing. Yeah.
Our 33% reduction of CO2 emissions is strictly manufacturing in our plants.
Okay, so you got to put a card in the bowl. Who's next? All right, let's go back here and then we'll go up here.
Sorry, Mary.
I need the exercise, so this is good. Work off that great lunch.
I was excited to hear, like, I saw on Eddie's slide that he had something about the packaging, and I didn't hear a whole lot of discussion about it, but I was more curious if anyone here is working with like the Product Stewardship Institute or Product Stewardship Initiatives, or even the Sustainable Packaging Group, Sustainable Packaging Institute, because it seems like those would be some great places to start. I've been working with Clean the World on trying to figure out like what are we going to do with all these little soaps and, you know, shampoos and lotions and conditioners that come out of the hotels. They're all in different types of plastics, different colors. Some of them don't have any marks on them. Yeah, they have different lids. I mean, there's a lot of issues like that we could probably deal with some of this stuff by working with the manufacturers and the packaging companies and stuff. So I was just curious if anyone's working on that.
Sorry.
My company and then the plastics industry in general works very closely with the Sustainable Packaging Coalition. They had a meeting last week. One of my colleagues was there as we were talking at this table here at the Bill. It's a very diverse group of people that go to that. But one of the things I didn't get a chance to mention that someone asked me about was SPC has this how to recycle label. And I don't know if you've seen that, but we're working very closely with them on the how to recycle label that gives really clear direction on things and each of the components. And it's a really great program. For the plastic side of it, we've tied it to Design for Recyclability guidelines that the Association of Plastic Recyclers have put together, so that you know if you're going to, if someone wants to put that design, that how to recycle label on it, you know that product has met the guidelines of being recyclable and it's not just greenwashing. I think that's a great program.
We also work with PSI and the Sustainable Packaging Council. There's a couple of times was mentioned today the evolving ton, and one of the examples they use is coffee packaging. The can, the plastic container, and then obviously the nylon pouch. The concern we have with the nylon pouch is that it is not recyclable, but it also, one of its benefits is it flattens out prior to being filled with coffee, but also it flattens out during recycling if it gets into the recycling stream and it acts like paper. So that's a concern we have. Even though it's not recyclable, people wish for recycling and they get in there, so it's a concern in that respect.
And it's funny, we've heard that phrase before, we call it wish cycle. We wish that we could recycle it, so let's just throw it in a single stream. Somebody will figure out what to do with it. Okay, who's the next question? All right, thanks.
This is for Jean. Considering the waste energy initiative, I know I read an article recently in the Washington Post about Norway, Sweden, Denmark had a 100% diversion rate. And that has to do with the technology of their waste energy incinerators, capturing more material. And with the new, at least I have to report on the federal side, but the new ISO 1401, EPA is considering that since electricity is a commodity, that you can't count waste energy as being diversion. So no, if there's anybody has any updates on the status of that.
I can't comment about update from EPA. I know here in the state of Florida does. And I think if you look at historically what's going on with Europe, and a good bit of their material goes, towards waste energy projects. Talking about waste energy, we were talking a little bit about plastics. I do want to identify one individual that's in the room, Dan with RES Polyflow. Dan, raise your hand. Dan is with a company, his company has been involved with a conference that we run called the Waste Conversion Technology Conference. In fact, this August will be our 9th year running that event. And it's all the conversion technologies that are going on across the globe that take waste materials and convert them into various states of fuel, whether it be biodiesel, ethanol, syngas, or what have you. RES Polyflow has been involved and has presented at our conference. They have an interest in actually siting a facility here in Florida. So hopefully, Dan, we'll see you in operation very, very soon. So actually, you need to get in touch with Henry and Karen, because they want more businesses in the state of Florida.
And we want all those plastic bottles that have mobile written on it, because not only can we convert the plastic bottle into fuel, but we use that oil and turn it right back into fuel. So, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, here's our next question.
I'm a journalist, so that's why I have so many questions.
That's good.
This is probably for Eddie. There's so many complaints about single stream and the contamination of the materials from it. If you had your ideal world, what kind of changes would you make to reduce that contamination?
Wow, that's a great question. I think ideally,
Hang on, Eddie.
what I stress every time I get a chance to talk to a group like you guys is, it's not, people want to do the right thing. There's a contingent of folks that are throwing garbage in the recycling bin, but that's a very small part of that problem. The kind of material we see at the MRF are conceptually things that could be recycled. You heard Gene talk about some specific things that can be recycled with unique opportunities, but that's not part of a single stream program. The purpose of that program is to create ease of use, to get large quantities of real recovered materials into that container so that when it gets to a MRF, it can be processed separately. So my ideal look at that is talk to them about what doesn't go in there as much as you talk to them about what does. Because this concept of everything's recyclable, and the industry did it to ourselves over time, and we showed them the little triangle, we told them about numbers 1 through 7, we talked about this, that, and the other thing, and everything's recyclable. And then they go to their home and they're like, do I put that in that blue bin or do I put it in the black one? I don't know what to do with it. So tell them more about what not to put in there than you do about what should be put in there. And to the point of a thing this morning, there's an awful lot of real valuable recovered material still in that waste stream. Get more of the good stuff out of the black cart and into the green cart, and the other stuff back in the black cart. I think we'd be at a better place.
I think one of the things that you should point out in your presentation is something that we use, where the star screen is shut down every 3 hours because the guy's having to pull plastic bags out.
I know your voice is loud.
That's a great point. I've shown that so many times. I keep taking it out of my slide deck because I keep showing it. I feel like everybody's seen it. But you're right. If you don't know what a plastic bag does to a paper separation device, all you got to do is walk into any single stream MRF and look at a paper screen.
Yeah, I think a lot of it might go to education, because my kids want to recycle everything. I'm always pulling pizza boxes out that are covered with cheese and stuff, and they won't believe me because I'm their father. So they have to be, recycling is very important to them. They want to do the right thing, but they'll put anything. If it's made out of plastic, it goes in there. No matter what. If it's made out of paper, it doesn't matter if it's got food on it, it goes in there. So I think that needs to be part of the education process, that they need to know not only recycling is important, but what they can recycle or what's practical, maybe the mechanics of it.
Right. And I think a sustainable program has that one where you actually continue to do that education, but you also have a program with compliance involved. You have to have compliance, or the education, unfortunately, is going to fall on deaf ears.
Just to add to that, I do a lot of outreach, a lot of training on recycling, and people get confused about what you do at home versus what you do at work, and they get confused about what you do in the unincorporated county versus what you do in your city. I mean, if you live in one county and you work in another one, you may have different recycling going on in each place, and then you might have something different going on at work. So, yeah, that's a big part of it too. That a lot of times we overlook that. But
for Pinellas County, and we give tours of our facility, of waste energy facility. I'm a program supervisor for education and outreach, and one of the things that we tell them, we do a lot of kid tours, but one of the things that we tell them is if it's not a drink container, it's a metal, we'll pull out faucets or candlesticks or spoons from our waste energy from our metals recovery. We'll tell them it may not be recyclable in your curbside box, but it will get recycled on the back end of the facility because we will sell the metals. So we just let them know they still are recycling when they put those things in their waste. It's something that we offer. And to your point, we did recently an education of our own staff about recycling. They also come from multiple counties and cities, and it's different in all the places. Some places don't take foil. People don't know that because they think that's the green option in film. We use a lot of recycling because we don't take foil. So we need to educate our own folks, right?
Absolutely. And Keep America Beautiful has some great little charts for offices. Instead of saying, this is recyclable, and then they have one that says landfill, and then this one's recycled. And then you can list the items that you can recycle and put it right on the bins. And that helps a lot in offices, especially if you have people coming from different areas. Next question. Now you only get to put one card in. All right.
I guess just two questions here. One, any updates on PVC recycling or vinyl recycling? And the second one is as far as the industry goes, is using glass. I know there's been some experiments with construction materials, concretes, stucco. Is there any update on the glass or glass uses, material uses for glass or the PVC recycling?
That's PVC. Really, there's so little in household that it's very difficult to capture that way, but there is a lot, where you find it is in construction, demolition of the siding, the pipe, things like that. And on the website, plasticsmarkets.org, we're actually doing a push right now to list more of the PVC buyers there. But it has to be the large volumes of single items. For example, you can't mix the pipe with the siding because they have different properties. But if you are doing deconstruction, there are buyers for that.
And on that point, I was actually at ISRI last week and happened to meet a PVC recycler that was on a panel that I served on. And so if anybody needs a contact for PVC pipe, which I've had a tremendous problem over the years getting rid of, we now have an outlet for it, which is fantastic.
Another question?
I actually have two. So one is actually directed at Patty. You had mentioned Recycle Your Plastics and a couple of other organizations that were basically trying to harmonize the terminology and trying to get some consistency out there in education. I was wondering if those were associated with Recycle Across America or if that's a completely different organization. They're trying to standardize labels, so I was curious about that. My first question. And another one is for Steve about the glass recycling. I'm not sure where he is.
He left.
He left? Okay. Well, the question was essentially, I know in our county, we don't accept shredded paper, and it was my understanding that the glass, that the shredded paper would fall into the glass container and tend to contaminate the glass load. So I was wondering if in material recovery facilities that don't take shredded paper, if the glass is a little bit cleaner, but nobody knows that. That's
All right, so the first question went to Patty, correct?
It's a quick answer. They're different organizations, so we are trying to harmonize with them.
okay.
I'd say Waste Management's in. So shredded paper absolutely ends up in a glass pile without some secondary containment equipment, vacuums and blowers and things that can move shred paper out of a glass stream. So generally speaking, if you, by design, don't take shred paper in, you're going to have a better glass stream. You're typically going to get that shred paper into your glass pile by the engineering design without some secondary containment.
While I'm walking back there, David, you said something about scrap recyclers being the second oldest profession. What's the first?
It's not legal.
Question, Mr. Jones?
Who back here was raising their hand? There we go. I knew I was heading back here.
Any
outlets for polycarb that have the plastic coating that protects it when it's manufactured.
Coated polycarbonate lenses?
No, this is actually used, I'm not a municipality, I'm a local recycler. And we have a customer that needs a remote control car. It's made out of polycarb, but it has the LPPE film coating on it, so it's not scratched in the manufacturing process. And we don't pull it off before we build it, so.
Let me get your card and I'll see if I can help you.
Okay.
I've got a question for David. Who uses the metal scrap recovery from waste energy? Would a Nucor or regular steel recycler, anybody can use that?
Yes, they can. It's basically ugly stuff. Just plain and simple. And it's a lower value material because there is some still ash involved, especially if it's post-burn. If it's pre-burn, it's a different story, but the concern there is you still have some possibility of getting copper-containing products in there. Copper is a concern of ours in terms of chemistry. There's also concern that an errant medical device with some radioactive materials may be in there. So, as Patty likes to say, I got it easy because the magnet doesn't lie. No matter what type of program you have, curbside drop-off, resource recovery, you still want the steel because of the magnets. Thank you.
I have a question for you, Bill. About shredded paper, is there a process that you recommend for that to put, should people bag it or the paper bags, or do you just, what do you recommend on that?
It was interesting because I listened to the shredded conversations, and my first thought was, well, you are going to lose some of it to the glass. But the glass people really don't care. It's like the label, it'll just burn off. But in terms of Patty's question, the best place for shredded paper is in the dedicated office space program. That's where it belongs. Mercer does a very good job of recovering shredded office paper as office paper. Usually winds up in mixed paper, which is a downcycle. So if you're going to make a lot of shred, lots of communities have drop-offs that take it, or they have shredding day and things like that. So that's a much better use for us.
Okay, and Bill, commercial MRFs that don't handle residential streams.
Right, commercial MRFs.
Absolutely take and reuse shred paper. We've got 2 of them in the state that take shred paper all day.
Okay, last question. That was easy. I didn't have to go far.
I heard a lot of stuff about a lot of recycling on glass and everything else. I work at a facility on the coast, on New Smyrna, and I haven't heard anything much about carpet recycling. We used to have a carpet recycler in Orlando that I used to keep all our carpet intake, keep it dry, and take it to them. And they got to a point where they couldn't take it anymore because I had so much quantity of it. So I was wondering if anybody knew of any avenues or anybody in the area that takes carpet recycling.
Yeah, I could address that, because I've worked with, there were 5 carpet recyclers in the state. We generate roughly about 110 to 120,000 tons of carpet annually. The problem with what's going on with carpet has to do with the oil market and everything else. It's the market for carpet has gone down tremendously. Carpet's mainly made of nylon 6 and 6/6, but there's been a shift over the last couple of years for the carpet industry to make carpet out of PET. And it's not a good market from a recycling perspective. So what has happened is because the carpet recyclers aren't getting the value that they were, 2 of the carpet recyclers have gone out of business within the last month. And that's probably one of the guys that you were talking about. There are still a few around the state. So I can get you contacts for them. What they'll go through is they'll triage the carpet, what they can sell out, pull out nylon 6, 6/6, has a market for it. They'll do that, and typically we'll go to Evergreen up in Georgia, or Shaw, one of their other plants. The majority of the carpet that's coming from the carpet recyclers that can't be reused is going to Swanee right now, and it's being used as a fuel.
All right, so we had several cards. Everybody that asked a question put their card in, right? So Karen, would you do me a favor and be our official drawer? And one other thing, coming up this fall, I'm really excited about this, that we're going to be working with Recycle Florida Today and Heather Armstrong on a program. So look out for that. That might be something very interesting for you. We're going to try to do it here in the Orlando area, and we're just starting talks on that. So we're looking forward to that.